Next, I want to briefly talk about flexible printed circuit boards, or flex PCBs. They're quite interesting, and I think lately we've been seeing a lot more of them in the maker world or the prototyping world, mainly because electronics are getting smaller, faster, cheaper, easier, and size with the Internet of Things has become incredibly important. Wearable jewelry and rings that are connected through Bluetooth or whatever means is now kind of an everyday thing. We don't even think twice about, oh yeah, my ring has built-in Bluetooth, or my bracelet has Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And they rely heavily on printed circuit boards that are flexible. Now there's quite a few companies out there that can produce them, and in this video I just want to talk about some of the things to consider. Number one, you can actually even buy prototyping flexible boards here. This is by Adafruit, and you can just solder regular components to this and have some flexible qualities to your prototype. That being said, if you solder along a long line here, the solder is not going to be that flexible, so plan accordingly. But if you were to create like a bracelet and you wanted a component here and then maybe run some wires, this could be a great solution for you. They even have Arduino boards that are flexible. This is Arduino film. This is an Arduino compatible board, and you can see it's all done on a printed flexible PCB. Now there's some interesting things here. You need special batteries to power this. You'll need a special adapter to program it, but it's a full-fledged Arduino, and you can even get accessory boards with accelerometers on them and everything. And you can imagine, again, a watch or a bracelet where I could have this embedded inside some plastic or metal and really take on some interesting shapes. From the companies I've done some research and worked with, you can easily do a 1, 2 layer, even 4 layer printed circuit board on here, and that's how many layers of the copper that would be in here. So if you're working with some higher end sensors, you might need 2 or 3 layers. You can do that. Another thing that's interesting to note, you can have flexible printed circuit boards and then have rigid all in one manufacturable piece. So that's really intriguing. Imagine if you had an Arduino and you wanted a flexible ribbon cable coming out. They can actually manufacture boards that are semi-rigid. I wouldn't say as rigid as this PCB, but they can have rigid components then flexible. Another thing that they can do, which I think is really cool, is what's called overmolding on the circuit board. So after you manufacture this, they can actually put this in a plastic injection molding machine and inject rubber over it or plastic over it. So you can think about if I were to build something like a Fitbit, this could actually go inside the mold. They inject the rubber, and now it's really waterproof and secure. Downside is it's also not really accessible anymore. But a couple of things that are pretty interesting to think about when designing your prototype, or actually after you design your prototype and move towards more of a manufacturable device. But at some point, you're going to want to get to a prototype that looks more like this. And flexible PCBs might be the perfect solution for your Arduino prototype.